In this video, we will be talking about proteins. This is one of the macromolecules that uh, are true polymers, and yeah, um, I'll be dividing. I'll be making two videos on this since it's kind of long, and this is going to be part one. So proteins are a diversity of structures. They have a wide range of functions. They're the most structurally sophisticated molecules known, and almost every dynamic function of a living depends on protein. They account for additional 50% of dry mass of most cells. They're instrumental in everything organisms do. So they can speed up chemical reactions, acting as catalysts, regulating metabolism, uh, or they can play a role in defense, storage, transport, cellular communication, movement, or structural support. Proteins make life possible through being most of enzymes. Uh, Enzymes are basically workhorses that keep cells running by carrying out the processes of life. So, for enzymatic protein, they regulate metabolism as catalysts, and in terms of the structure of proteins, they are all constructed from the same set of 20 amino acids linked in unbranched polymers. So, I suggest that you associate the term unbranched polymers with protein structure. This is something that I forgot in my exam, which I live to regret. And oh, that's kind. Anyways, uh, for structural proteins, we have three. Wait, do we have three? Yeah. Um, there is a peptide bond, the bond between amino acids, polypeptide. I'm sorry, these are not parts of a protein. They are um, structures, various kinds of structures of a protein. So we have a peptide bond. This is the bond between amino acids. For a polypeptide, this is a polymer of amino acids. And for protein, they are biological functional molecules made of one or more polypeptides in a 3D structure. This isn't a structure of a protein, by the way. This is a bond between amino acids. If carbohydrates have glycosidic bonding or linkage, lipids have ester linkages. Then for proteins, we have a peptide bond. So I think these terms are analogical to each other. You might want to take note of that. Anyways, for amino acids, we have monomers, and for polypeptides, there are amino acid polymers. So the organic molecule is basically amino group plus carboxyl group. So amino is this one, NH2, basically consists of a nitrogen atom. For carboxyl group is this one. We have an alpha carbon. This is the center of the amino acid, the asymmetric C, and the R group or the side chain. It's either a hydrogen atom or another functional group. So, if I'm not mistaken, the R group depends on the protein's function. No, it depends on the kind of amino acid that makes protein, human protein in particular. Human proteins are made from 20 types of amino acids, and they are classified according to um, being hydrophobic, hydrophilic, and their electrical charge. So more on that later. Let's go first with the protein functions. First, we have enzymatic proteins. It was mentioned earlier. They basically regulate metabolism as catalysts that speed up chemical reactions. They selective accelerate chemical reactions, some of them. So for an example, digestive enzymes catalyze hydrolysis of bonds in food molecules. So they are responsible for the hydrolysis, which is the opposite of dehydration reaction. For defensive proteins, the function is to protect against disease, and the example is to inactivate, for antibodies to inactivate, help destroy viruses and bacteria. So, yeah. For storage proteins, they store amino acids, similar to how plants have starch and animal cells have glycogen. For storage proteins, they store amino acids. Ovalbumin stores amino for egg white. That's the reason why the usual egg has an exterior that's color white, I think. And for transport proteins, this is basically the transport of substances. Proteins play a really important role in transporting molecules across a cell membrane, either by passive or active transport. More on that in the next videos to come. But yeah, hemoglobin transports oxygen to body parts across cell membranes. So oxygen is transported via passive transport. So yeah, more on that soon. Hormonal proteins. Coordination of organism activity. Insulin regulates blood sugar concentration. So this is related to the topic on cell membrane activity. The pancreatic cells produce or secrete insulin in order to regulate blood sugar concentration. So I think insulin is a hormone, so that's produced by the pancreatic cells, ultimately fueled by proteins, I guess, if I'm right. I hope I'm right. Anyways, for the receptor proteins, the function is the response of the cell to chemical stimuli. So let me mention a few. LDL receptor. This is in the endocytosis process, particularly the receptor-mediated endocytosis process of absorbing bad cholesterol, which is particularly LDL or low-density lipoprotein. LDL receptor receives the LDL itself. And one in particular is regarding HIV. We have I'm not sure what cell this is, but it's the CD4 receptor. And we have something that's called a CCR5 co-receptor. The CCR5 co-receptor is responsible for allowing HIV viruses to enter the cell. That's why recently, I'm not sure if it's recently or, yeah, scientists have been trying to discover how to remove the CCR5 receptor in our cells. But yeah, I think it's a matter of genetic engineering. But anyways, for contractile or motor proteins, this is basically for movement. This is for the muscles. And for structural proteins, we have support. Keratin for the hair, collagen for the bones, elastin, etc., etc., silk fibers. So more on this later. Yeah, we'll have a part 2.